Welcome, student. This is class 6 of BUS202, and we welcome you in this session. Today, we'll be talking about a very important topic, the dissolution of a contract or discharge of a contract, how a contract comes to an end. And it's quite a big topic, but then again, we got to go through it and run through it. That is what is important about. Now, regarding the dissolution of a contract, before we start the topic, I would like to share with the students about certain things that by till now, so far the Contract Act 1872 is concerned, or the law of contract is concerned, we are in fact climbing over to the peak of the mountain. That means we are talking about everything regarding the making of a contract, how a contract is made, what are the different types of contract, what are the essential elements of a contract, what is consideration, what are the rules to test the validity of the consideration, can there be a contract without consideration, what is quasi-contract, what are those sections that involve quasi-contract, and what are the different type of contract, valid contract, unenforceable contract, void contract, voidable contract, and all those we have seen. We know now about the total making of a contract. As a matter of fact, first 85 sections of the Contract Act 1882 in fact teaches you how to make a contract and relating everything to the contract. The rest of the sections of the Contract Act 1882 deals with a special type of contract that we will be studying in the next course of studies after we finish the Contract Act, the law of contract, rather we can say, bailment, pledge, agency. These are the topics. These are special type of contract. After we finish the law of contract and learn all the principles of the law of contract, we'll barge upon the others. Today, that's why I'm saying that by now all of you at least have some idea about what is a contract, how it is being met. Now, never a contract is made for eternal period, because every contract has a purpose and an object. So when the purpose and object is accomplished, the contract comes to an end. Now, what are the different ways by which a contract may come to an end is important for us. And that is what is known as discharge of contract or dissolution of a contract. It's like if you put 2 spoonfuls of sugar in a cup of coffee, what happens? After some time you find that sugar is no more there, it is dissolved. So a contract is not made for eternity or forever. Contract is made for a purpose. As soon as the purpose is over, the contract comes to an end. So that's why dissolution of contract is important for us. And today we'll look through the different types of dissolutions, different method by which normally and usually a contract comes to an end. Now, there are in fact different methods by which a contract comes to an end. By agreement, the contract may come to an end. By performance, the contract may come to an end. By frustration, the contract may come to an end. By breach of the contract may come to an end. And by operation of law, something else happens somewhere for which a contract may come to an end. So these are the different avenues or ways and means by which a contract is discharged or dissolved or comes to an end, whatever way you call it. First of all, by agreement. A contract may come to an end by an agreement between the parties. Why? Because it's very normal. If you can make a contract by an agreement, you can also discharge it by another agreement. The key which is used to lock a lock, the same key can be used to unlock it. So the idea is like that. So agreement is one of the very common method by which the parties to a contract discharge their contract or decide to get rid of the contract. So agreement, but then such agreements may take either of the other different three forms. If you look to my precise note on the topic, you will find under the head agreement, there are three different methods. But one is by release, another one is accord and satisfaction, other one is rescission. They are all by agreement between the parties, but they may take three different ways or means. Number one, by release or waiver. Now, by release or waiver means that one of the party releasing the other party from what he was supposed to do for him, releasing his obligation. This can so happen, there is nothing wrong in it. Suppose there is a contract between A and B, that A will pay taka 100,000 and B will paint a portrait for A. So after 7 days, B rings A and saying that, sir, I am unable to paint the picture for you because I'll be having my midterm examination soon. So naturally it will be difficult for me to paint. Sorry, sir. The teacher may think, yeah, this is true, that may be. Anyway, okay, fine. He may release the student, the other party, from painting a portrait. But then again, there is a binding contract. He could have said, no, after 10 days you are saying you cannot paint. Why? I lose 10 days. So I will ask for damage and compensation. He could do that. But then again, he is releasing the student. At the same time, he is waiving his right to sue. He is not suing, he is allowing the student to take release of it. So this is one. So this is to be done by another agreement to discharge the earlier agreement. Next come accord and satisfaction. Between the parties, one of the party is accepting something. He is accepting something which he might say that I will not take it because his other party is offering something out of the way in the contract. For example, suppose there is a contract that the builder will build a house for you. In return, you will give a remuneration of 20 lakhs taka to the builder for building the house. After the completion of the house, naturally the builder will ask his consideration or remuneration, this bill for 20 lakhs taka. Now, supposing that the house owner, not having enough property, he requests the builder that you see, I don't have cash fund in my hand. Rather, I am offering you 3 kathas of land. I have enough land here. Are you ready to accept the land? Here, if he accepts the land, this is a case of accord and satisfaction. That one of the party agrees to take something else instead of what he was supposed to accept. He could have said, no, I will not take it. Either you pay money or I will sue you. No. He is satisfied and agree to take a piece of land instead of money. This is known as accord and satisfaction. But then again, for this also, another written contract will be necessary. So in both these two cases, you find that there is one of the party is giving up his right. One of the party is giving up his right. In release also, one of the party is waiving his right. In accord and satisfaction, one of the party also agreeing, taking something instead of what he is supposed to get. The third one, which is done under agreement, is rescission. Rescission is the word adjective, and the verb is rescind, R-E-S-C-I-N-D, which means that to cancel. So if there is a contract where both the parties give up their rights, that is called rescission. Offerer gives up his right and say, okay, you don't need to do to the other party. The other party also say, okay, fine, you don't need to do your part also. So both give up their rights. That is known as rescission. So in other two cases, the agreement is such that one of the parties is sacrificing. But here, both the parties mutually agree that they will give up their rights, and the earlier contract made between them will come to an end. But even in recession, case of recessions, there will be another subsequent agreement to dissolve or discharge that agreement. Next is by performance. It is a very common method. Around 80% of normal contracts comes to end by performance. What I was supposed to do, I have done, and I am satisfied with the performance of the other party. So everything went according to the contract. This is called dissolution by performance. Contract comes to an end. As I told you, no contract continues for eternity. It must come to an end sometime. But then with this performance, one thing is important that we must share with you is that performance by valid tender. By valid tender, sometimes it happens. Suppose there is a supply contract, let me very short, that a person will supply 500 chairs, 100 chairs per month. The price of the chair is 100 taka each. Accordingly, a supply contract is signed. So the first supply of 100 chair has gone, okay, fine. Second supply of 200 chair has gone, okay, fine. The other party received. Third supply of 300 chair, okay, done. But when the fourth supply was on its way to the other party, he said, sorry, wait for 15 days. I don't have enough place in my godown. The party who was receiving chair. Then the supplier said, sorry, either you receive it or I will not supply anymore. I will consider it as a valid tender. That means the supplier need not to supply the rest of the 200 chair, and he can ask for the price for the 300 chair. His responsibility under the contract to give 500 chairs in 5 installments extinguishes there. And the other party cannot ask for the 200 chair, or the fact that he did not supply the 200 chair, he cannot file a case and say, ask for damage and compensation. So this is known as valid tender. But remember, valid tender relates only to supply contracts, where goods are to be supplied. But if it is a contract where one party is supposed to pay some money, the principle of valid tender will not operate. Supposing you know that Shamsuddin sir will not be in the house after 10 o'clock, he will be in the Brackenbury campus. So you come to my house, put the calling bell and say, is Mr. Sir, is Shamsuddin sir is there? So naturally somebody will come and say, no, he is not there. So you brought a bundle of 50,000 taka note and say, you see there is 50,000 taka here for him. Since he is not here, so I am tendering the money, he is not here to take anyway. And you have two witnesses with you and say, okay, fine. That doesn't mean that you are under the valid tender. When it is a question of paying money, valid tender principle will not work. You must always be ready to pay the money. So far performance of contract is concerned, valid tender is a good performance, provided, however, that relates to supply contracts when goods are to be supplied. But under the contract, if you have to pay some money, then it must be paid. The principles of valid contract will not come into play. So these are the first two different types of method by which a agreement comes to an end. In the second segment of the class, we will take up the third, that is frustration. Very important for you. Wait and see. Thank you.